You're watching memorable entertainment television. MeTV Tri-State.
This year in the Tri-State, 1 out of 8 people will be in an accident.
Would you know what to do?
Call Woods & Woods. They'll get you help.
When you call Woods & Woods, you are not a statistic. You are our client, and we will fight to get the money you deserve.
And that's what Mike did. He really fought hard for me. They just really cared.
If you've been injured, call 1-800-544-2108.
Let Woods & Woods work for you. You don't owe us a dime unless we win your case.
Tri-State Voices, an open discussion with area leaders on issues affecting communities throughout the Tri-State. Now here's your host, Mike Woods.
Good morning, I'm Mike Woods, and welcome to Tri-State Voices. For several years, my friend Les Shively and I did a show every Tuesday night where we interviewed many different leaders in Evansville, political leaders, religious leaders, leaders of corporations. Well, unfortunately, my friend Les took a job with the government. He was appointed by Governor Pence as a Superior Court judge, and that ended our program. A few weeks ago, John Dunn from WTSN and Ron Cosby of the Tri-State Observer came to me and asked me if I'd like to start the show again. And I was really excited to do that because I really enjoyed interviewing different political leaders. We had originally planned on having a debate type event with the two candidates for the County Council 4th District. Unfortunately, Pete Swain had told us he would show up, and he decided not to. Not sure why Pete did that. Over the past several years, I've interviewed virtually every local political leader, from current Mayor Lloyd Winnecke, the two candidates who were running in the Democrat primary, Rick Davis and Troy Tornado, Congressman Larry Bucshon, numerous candidates for state representatives, senators. And Mr. Swain's the first one to ever not show up and not want to tell the voters his views on that. And so he can explain that. But on a good note, we have John Montestrell here today. And John, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Whenever somebody's running for an office, the first thing I always think about is, why is this person running for office? And of course, all of us knew your dad, Bill. Your dad was involved in just about every community event there was. I mean, he was the director of the Freedom Festival.
Right.
He was involved in more things than I could list. We only have about a half hour today, and if I listed everything, and I'm not being funny, you know it's true, if I listed everything your father was involved in, we'd still be here late this afternoon.
Right.
So in your case, it's pretty easy to see why you're interested in public service.
Right.
The short answer is the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, did it?
Right, right. No, it didn't. You know, I miss my dad. My dad passed away in '97, and you know, Dad was involved in so many things while I was growing up. He was always away helping Evansville to become a better community. That while he was a physical therapist at Wellborn Hospital, and he served, you know, in the Army Reserve for over 30 years, retired as a colonel. But yeah, you know, it's genetics, I think. I've got that from my father, and what really led me to running for my first elected position is genetics, but also my involvement with the Convention and Visitors Board when I was asked to serve on that board a little more than 3 years ago. That combined with going through a Leadership Evansville seminar this past year, and Leadership Evansville, and we can talk a little bit about that, is just giving more to your community. Looking, you know, they look for community leaders, people to stand up and want to serve, and that's what I want to do.
Okay. Well, why don't we start then, we talk about the Convention Bureau, because that's a lot of your experience there. What do they do? How do they fund themselves?
Well, the Evansville Convention and Visitors Bureau is funded by lodging tax. Anyone that is staying in a Vanderburgh County hotel, which are really predominantly out-of-towners, they pay an 8% tax. We get a portion of that funds the Evansville Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Okay, well, what kind of things have they taken care of here in the county? I mean, how's the county profited from that?
Well, we've done, Evansville Convention and Visitors Bureau, our mission there is to promote Evansville, to get as many visitors and as many conventions to come to Evansville, okay? Because all that spurs economic, new spending, money spent in Evansville. We've done, you know, if I can back up just a little bit, what we've done when, you know, the board was transformed a little more than 3 years ago. when you know, a whole new board was put into play. And when we came into play, we did a number of different initiatives to really make that board a more transparent board, a more transparent organization. We put in new policies and procedures. We put in a comprehensive budget, special grants policy, grant criteria, guidelines, and policies. We put in new marketing initiatives that are really making a difference, because if you look at our STAR numbers, and that's how we track the number of people that come to Evansville and visit, they're up. So what we're doing is really making a difference. We did all that really the first year, year and a half. What's really most exciting and it's really challenging is what we've been working on for the last couple of years, and that's the building of our new sports park in Evansville.
All right, well, that's what I'd like to go ahead and get into. You're interested not just in quality of life issues, but the economic issues.
Oh, absolutely.
When I've talked to you, you see a lot of joint effort. I mean, if you do one, you've done the other, right?
Right.
Okay, well, the sports park, it's obvious to all of us why that would, it'd be nice to have a sports park, but economically, why is that important?
Well, you know, the previous board started the sports park concept and the idea of bringing that, and they didn't have a lot of success bringing it to fruition, but it was a good idea then, and it's a good idea now. And the reason being is the new monies that the sports park will bring in, it's enormous. We're going to build this 8-field. It's going to be two pinwheels, two pinwheels of 4 diamonds each, that will have every amenity you can think of in a sports park. And specifically to your question, it's going to bring in a lot of new dollars, because there are a ton of girls fast pitch, youth baseball that travel. I'm talking hundreds of teams travel, and we're going to attract those to Evansville, and that they're going to spend money in shopping, restaurants, and hotels. And it's going to be large. You know.
Well, let's kind of go through the math. When I was a few years ago, when my daughter played soccer, we'd go down to these different towns for soccer tournaments.
Right.
And I can remember going down to Paducah, and all the hotels were sold out.
Right.
Because they'd have a really nice soccer complex.
Right.
And they'd have games starting at 8 in the morning until about 5 that evening, and they would have 30 teams down there. Well, of course, each team has 14 girls.
Right.
And you bring dad and mom, and sometimes grandpa and grandma and all the rest of it. And literally, sometimes we had to get a hotel 30 miles away from the fields, because there weren't any hotels. They were sold out. And of course, then you're eating in the restaurants and all that.
Right.
So how many teams are you talking about will be able to show up for one of these tournaments?
Let me pull out a graphic so I don't misquote this.
Okay.
I mean, we did a ton of work on this sports complex before we rolled this out. Before we said let's build this, and can I get into that first?
Sure.
You know, we're not the type of organization that wanted to say we're going to build this and we're going to build this here. You know, we didn't do that. What we did before we arrived at this day that we're going to build this park is we included everybody we can in the tri-state. We met with the mayor's office. We met with the county council. We met with the county commissioners. We met with athletic directors. We met with softball managers in Evansville. People that are interested in a sports park like this. We toured 6 different facilities in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. They're building they just built a $29 million beautiful park there. Bowling Green, Kentucky, Chattanooga, Tennessee. We went down to Mississippi. We went to South Haven. And we toured these other facilities, and we looked to see what is it that is attracting people. And so we took everything what we learned and incorporated it into what our vision was. So then we shared that vision with the people, you know, our leaders here in Evansville, and we got their input. What do you think about this? What if we do this? And we wanted them to. We included everyone, and what was key in that is including the neighborhood. You know, we're going to build this out on the backside of Gable Soccer Field. And the largest subdivision in Vanderbilt County is the Keystone subdivision. So we had neighborhood association meetings with them. We invited all them. We went up to a church up on North Green River Road, and we had an open discussion, and they told us what they want to see in the park. And one of the things that came out of that, which I was kind of thrilled with because I'm a runner, is we're putting a 1 mile track around our whole softball complex. And that track is going to be tied in to the Keystone neighborhood. So, you know, if those folks get tired of walking in their neighborhood, and there's a lot of people that are health-minded, they want to go over there and walk around the track, they have that opportunity 24/7. But the park includes a whole lot more. I mean, it's going to be beautifully manicured fields. We're going to hire a turf manager, a dedicated turf manager, a dedicated sports park manager to our facility, who will take care of that grounds 24/7, every day of the year. Some of the amenities it has, we're bringing dirt in from the south. Our infields are going to be high quality. We're going to have the best lighting that we can purchase on these fields. Actually, just the best lighting, because light filtration is very important to the Keystone folks, and also sound too. We want to direct the sound away from the Keystone neighborhood. We're going to have quality concession stands in the middle of each of our pinwheels, with plenty of restroom facilities. Parking is going to be, we're going to have plenty of parking. We're going to have playground equipment out there. We'll have shade behind every field and some shade structures over by the playgrounds areas. When you walk into this park, I'm telling you, this is going to be beautiful. You're going to love this. When you walk in through this park, on the back side of the ticket booth is going to be a bandstand area where you can have ceremonies for awards for after tournaments, right? Plus, on the back side of the bandstand area is going to be a big open field that you can warm up, before games. But you might have outdoor concerts there on the bandstand area. It's going to be awesome. I'm just so thrilled. Not only because of the park is going to be high quality, everyone's going to feel good about it, but the economic impact it's going to bring. It's the Veterans Tournament. You know the Veterans Tournament.
Yeah.
It fills up every year. We want to do that 20 to 25 times per year.
Well, tell me about the economic impact. I mean, how many teams are you going to have on a typical weekend, and then how many players do you have on per team?
Right. Well, 45-team tournaments is what we'd like to kind of top out at. When you have 45 teams at 20 players per team, that's 900 players, okay? That's 900 room nights. At an average of $81, $82 a night, that's $73,500 per weekend, okay? Then you take those 900 players and you add a couple of non-participants, because players always travel with additional people. And you times that by 2, 2,700 players and spectators. Those 2,700 stay an average of 3 nights. That's another 8,100 visitors, visiting parties. So you do the math, and I have it right here, and maybe we can put it up here. That 45-team tournament will bring in $607,000 that weekend.
How many weekends per year do you think you'll be able to do this?
Well, we want to do 20 to 25.
Goodness.
Yeah. We'll get there. We're already talking to softball associations to book tournaments.
So you're talking about what, $10, $12 million generated per year?
Yes. Around year 3, we want to get to about the $13 million park, and then bump up around year 5, around $15 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to be clear,
Yep.
This wasn't paid for by a tax on anybody in Vanderburgh County. It was solely people coming in and staying in the hotel room.
Right. I'm glad you asked that or brought that up. This park, as far as we know, in this region of the country, is the only park owned by a Convention and Visitors Bureau. And as I explained earlier, I think we are funded by the leisure tax. So not one local tax dollar is going into this park. It's all the leisure tax, which is people who stay in our hotels. That's what's funding the whole project. That's what funds the whole Convention and Visitors Bureau. Okay. So, it's an exciting project. it's a quality of life improvement project, because this project not only will, increase the quality of life for Vanderbilt County, we believe, but it'll have this large economic impact. And that large economic impact, we think, will translate into jobs as well. I mean, if restaurants are starting to be overloaded on weekends, 20 to 25, weekends per year, that's probably going to add new jobs in the restaurants, shoppings, and hotels. So that's all good.
Well, I noticed when you were showing me the list of all the things the Convention Bureau has funded, one of them, for example, was the roads out at the 4-H Center.
Right.
You spent about $380,000 on that, and of course they bring in the Frog Follies every year, and that's a huge event. All the hotels are sold out, restaurants full.
Right. The Frog Follies is one of those community events, and what we do at the Convention and Visitors Bureau is actively look for new events that we can help market. Every year we've got this, we rewrote the grant criteria. And the Frog Follies is one example. We help them, if they fill out a grant form and submit it to them, we will help them market that event. And how we market it, we put billboards outside of Evansville. We run radio spots or print. To people outside of Evansville. So if you live in Evansville, you won't see our marketing efforts. It's all outside of Evansville because we want to bring more people into Evansville. The Frog Follies is one example. Just a couple of weeks ago, your Convention and Visitors Bureau funded approximately $109,000 into different events. And some of those different events was the Mardi Gras. We funded them to the tune of $10,000. We always give money to the Ritzy's Fantasy of Lights because that draws people. Others here, the Fall Festival, Evansville Half Marathon. There's a new run called the Color Run that's coming to Evansville. Frog Follies, you mentioned them. They fill up hotels. We love the Frog Follies. A lot of people come in for that. A new event called the Bosse Field Car Show that was actually rained out last year. It was just on probably the worst weekend you could do it. It was just a horrible rainy weekend. But we know that car shows are big. The Frog Follies has shown us that, and there's a new one that Bill Bussing is doing out there at the Bosse Field. The River City Bicycle Classic, it's growing out at Garvin Park. Evening on the River, we help market that. The River Run is back. It's going to be taking place pretty soon. It's a 10-mile run. And there's a Glow Run as well. So we're helping fund. So all those, and there's some others. Jazz and Wine is another one we help market. So, your Convention and Visitors, those lodging tax dollars go to help promote Evansville. We like to say we put heads in beds.
But it's not just an economic thing, it's really a quality of life for the people who live here too.
Yes.
So that's really interesting.
Yep.
Why don't we talk a minute about the actual position you're running for is the County Council, 4th District.
Right.
And you're in a primary race right now.
Right.
Okay. Tell us about the 4th District. What are the boundaries and what are the big things going on in the 4th District?
Well, District 4, it's Vanderbilt County. It's part of the city and part of the county, okay? It's the southeast, the east, and the northeast side of Evansville. It runs south pretty much all the way to the levee, east to 164, that's kind of the county boundary line, and then all the way east to just past Green River Estates, Hillsdale Road. And then the west part of the line, it's kind of a squirrely line. It's kind of like through Weinbach and 41 and kind of shoots up that way to Oak Hill Road. And yeah.
Kind of gerrymandered, I think, maybe,
yeah,
or something. I'm not sure how that came
probably
about.
Probably a little bit, yeah.
It's really chopped up.
Yeah.
What are the big attractions in the 4th District? I mean, with the parks and that sort of thing, John?
Well, let's talk parks. I mean, we've got Westman's Nature Woods, and we got Harkey Pool next to it, and everyone knows Westman Nature Park and Woods. We've got, you know, major shopping on the east side with Eastland Mall, of course. Everyone knows that. And other parks, we've got Gable Soccer Complex. We'll have our new sports complex in District 4. Yeah.
Pretty diverse.
It is.
Very
I mean,
diverse
it's, you know, it's the east side of Evansville.
Okay. Would you explain to the viewers exactly what does the county council do?
Well, the county council is made up of 7 elected officials. The county council is a fiscal overview of county departments. All the county departments come before the county council for budget approval. And there's a number of them. A couple of the larger ones are the sheriff's departments and the courts. Last year, they trimmed their budget from about $53.5 million down to about $48.3 million is what they trimmed it down. So it's a large budget, $48 million budget.
Okay, well, why do they have to go through that trimming? What's going on to force that issue?
Well, you've got to have, there's belt tightening all over the place, and there needs to be belt tightening. We need to live within our budgets. If there's any decrease in tax revenues, the county council needs to kind of trickle that on to all the county departments so that we only have so much money, okay? So it's the county council's responsibility to make sure that those monies are appropriated in a smart way without reducing services, So yeah, that's their job. That's their responsibility.
You've made it clear when I talked to you that you're absolutely opposed to any kind of tax increase, and whatever we do in the future, it's going to be without any kind of tax increase. And it seems like if you had a motto to your campaign, it'd be something like a better county for less money, something to that effect, I think. But right now, it doesn't seem to me, I mean, I'm glad you're running for the council, but it doesn't seem like it'd be a real fun time to be on there. It's like you say, last year they cut $4 million. There's probably going to have to be some additional cuts from some places for reasons that we'll talk about later on the program, but there's a lot of financial pressure on the county. It seems to me you're looking to take on a pretty tough job.
Yeah, perhaps, but I've always been a conservative guy. I mean, that's how I raised my family, and that's how I live. It's living within your budget. Hopefully we can provide, and I want to provide the essential services. We need good service because everybody wants their roads fixed, the potholes taken care of, things like that. But we need to live within our budgets. And for me to look at whatever is in front of me, as far as do I vote yes or no on this, I look at those decisions and what's the immediate impact on that decision and what's the long-term impact on that decision. You can't always get what you want. Mick Jagger said that. But if you work together, you can get what you need, And I think it's about working together, the county council, with the commissioners, with the mayor's office, about providing good services within budget. So saying no, it's not difficult if it's not going to work.
Well, I know when I look at the minutes from the county council, you have one office holder after another, and they have to get approval on things. And it's not much fun for the county council to look at somebody that comes in on a legitimate request. And a lot of these people, you know them personally, you talk to them regularly, and you look at them and you go, no, we're not going to grant it. Right. And some of those discussions get a little heated sometimes. Right.
And that's okay. Heated discussions are okay. As long as you discuss and as long as you talk it out, and you don't bring it on somebody at in the 11th hour. You lead up to that and why we're going to perhaps make a decision this way, but yeah.
Okay, well, one of the things when I talked to you before that you said that the county could do to save some money is by using more and more volunteers. Right. You were, and in fact still are, active in Leadership Evansville. And what I'd like to ask you is your experience you had in Leadership Evansville, how you're planning on using that on the county council.
Well, I've always heard about Leadership Evansville, a few years back, and I always had an interest in that because I've always kind of pulled towards trying to improve myself. And Leadership Evansville is one of those organizations. Its mission is to develop effective community leaders. There's been over 2,500 people in our community that have, from hundreds of organizations and companies that have gone through this program. It's a 3-day seminar out in New Harmony. You know, they put you up and they feed you well, and you do these group activities. In my class last year, there were 27 of us, and you do these group team building activities, and it's all about understanding, discovering personal missions, understanding others, and lighting a passion to serve. And that's what Leadership Evansville does. They've got, you know, they got 3 people out there at Leadership Evansville. The 3 I know, I'm sure they have more, are Lynn Miller-Peace, who's the executive director, quality individual, just a dynamo, runs that organization. And she has Julie Moore, who's the director of operations, and Megan Siebert, who's the director of marketing and communications. These 3 ladies put on a good seminar. And you know, I think next week they've got this big. They have it every year. It's an awards banquet for people who have served our community. So I'll be at that one, hanging out. But yeah, Leadership Evansville is a quality organization. I encourage anybody and everybody to go through that. But that volunteerism is so key and so important because you know. You've heard it before, if you work together as a team, you can achieve so much more. You know, the mayor's picking up trash. He's picked up 50,000, I think it is, pounds of trash every Saturday morning. The team with Keep Evansville Beautiful. So that volunteerism is important.
Okay. John, we're really kind of running out of time. There's 100 different topics we'd like to talk to you about. What would you just like to say to the viewers in closing?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Evansville. I have a great sense of pride in our community and the people who live here. I consider this community to be warm, caring, and volunteering and generous. Vanderburgh County is a great place to live and to raise a family. I believe, as ever before, Evansville is unified in positive progress. I also believe very strongly that we should operate government to be fully transparent and fiscally responsible at all times. Our ability to understand county programs, departments, budgets, along with sound public policies and procedures regarding how we operate the functions of government is essential to our success. I want to ensure the most out of every tax dollar. Spending tax money wisely to ensure quality services is most important to me. Doing what's right for Vanderburgh County and its citizens is what I will strive for. I promise to remain creative, serve the county with honesty, integrity, and hard work. I want to thank you, Mike, for having me at your first Tri-State Voices show. I also want to remind our viewers that the primary is just around the corner. It's Tuesday, May the 6th. I would encourage everyone to go out and vote. And when you do, please look for my name and give me a punch. Again, thank you and cheers.
Okay, and if people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
I have a new email address. It's johnmforcouncil@gmail.com.
John, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it and enjoyed talking to you, and I wish you the very best of luck in your election and serving on the county council. Next week on Tri-State Voices, we're going to have the Evansville Chief of Police, Billy Bolin. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then.
Broke the story on local homestead tax credit fiasco. Expose the Evansville Redevelopment Commission excessive spending habits.
Your community watchdog. CityCountyObserver.com is your online community newspaper dedicated to the progress of Evansville and Vanderburgh County. We're a nonpartisan publication providing insight into political issues and events that shape our community. We are a watchdog for you, the citizen. Check us out online, city-countyobserver.com. That's city-countyobserver.com.
You're watching Memorable Entertainment Television. MeTV Tri-State.